So my name is Patriz. I'm with Venafi, and at Venafi, we secure trust by protecting keys and certificates so that they can't be misused by the bad guys. So today, I'm actually going to be talking about a really important topic, which is maximizing SSL TLS decryption. So SSL decryption and SSL visibility. So as you know, SSL is encrypted, so it hides traffic from view. So it's really become a popular way for the bad guys to sneak malware past your existing security systems and cause these blind spots. So with that, without further ado, let's get started. So according to Gartner, up to 25% of enterprise network traffic is encrypted with SSL TLS today. So that's a ton of traffic, and it's going to continue to grow. It's pervasive. It's rampant. But the problem here is that all organizations are going to be blind to this traffic. Also, according to Gartner, they claim that less than 20% of organizations today with a firewall, an IDS, IPS, UTM device are decrypting inbound and outbound SSL traffic. So what that effectively means is that cyber criminals out there are evading 80% of your existing security networks simply by tunneling attacks through SSL encrypted traffic. So by 2017, Gartner actually predicts that 50% of network attacks will use SSL. So this means not just your everyday threats, but pretty much in the future, everything will be using SSL to hide from your existing security networks and go through encrypted traffic and basically you'll be blind to these attacks. So let's go to a little bit about trust-based attacks, and they're increasing in the industry. So as I mentioned, the bad guys know about this vulnerability. So they're really using keys and certificates as powerful weapons against you. And those are basically the fabric of trust, right? Keys and certificates. And they're using it as powerful weapons against you. So we can trace back the origins of really the blueprints of the attacks today back in 2010 from Stuxnet and Duco. So these attacks were using compromised certificates and basically exploiting the trust that you have with keys and certificates. And then in 2011, we've seen the bad guys basically upping up the ante, and they're using certificate authorities. They're attacking certificate authorities. So from things from DigiNotar to DigiCert, they're using compromised keys and certificates to gain elevated privileges in your network. And then by 2012, we started seeing that keys and certificates were being used as an everyday attack, but not just keys and certificates now and CAs, but also SSH keys, and really any key and certificate is being used against you. So that begs the question, can any key or certificate really be trusted at this point? And then in 2013, moving on to 2013, this is really where things started to get a little bit more interesting, and we started seeing keys and attacks as a mainstream attack vector. So we saw things like, who's this guy right here? Yeah, there you go. So Snowden, we know that Snowden used SSH keys and certificates to gain elevated privileges and gains trusted status. We also saw things like CA compromises that enabled man-in-the-middle attacks, weak crypto exploits, code signing, certificate thefts, and the likes. And then last year got even more interesting, right? We saw a ton of advanced campaigns using keys and certificates, so things like mass malware, Heartbleed, which you guys I'm sure are familiar of. That was huge. We saw Shell Shock and Poodle. So again, these are things that have been going on over the last 5 years. You can see the growing amount of keys and certificates that are being compromised and being used in attacks. And then we're starting to see this year, 2015. All right, early on this year, we saw that there's actually a Ponemon research that came out, and there were global 5,000 customers and the likes that were being interviewed, and they basically responded to certain keys and certificate attacks. So 100% of them actually claimed that they had to deal with attacks on keys and certificates. So those are the large companies out there. And we also saw that the certificate price in the underground started to increase. It used to be like $700 last year, and then this year it's like $1,000 and up. So again, that's the price of a certificate. And then even if you look at data from Intel Security, They also, the research showed that digitally signed malware was doubling every quarter. And then we saw a ton more man-in-the-middle attacks. And also, if you aren't familiar with the Chinese trust authority called CNIC, well, guess what? That's trusted in all your SSL browsers today. So that's another thing that you got to worry about. And then, of course, the freak attack, the Lenovo superfish that you're familiar with, and one of the largest breaches out there, which is the Anthem Blue Cross, all used compromised keys and certificates. So this really led Gartner to believe that certificates can no longer be blindly trusted. Gartner specifically states that. So really, when it comes down to it, every key and every certificate that's available per decryption really becomes that much more critical. And why is that? It's because if you fail to decrypt traffic and maximize decryption with all keys and certificates, basically what that means is that your threat detection investment, such as like your FireEyes, for instance, is really only working half the time. So if you don't have access to all those keys and certificates for decryption, you're basically undermining your existing security controls. So things like your IDS, IPS systems, or your DLP systems, for instance. So like high performance decryption systems, such as like the A10 Thunder ADC, so they're used to find threats in SSL traffic. And basically what Thunder ADC needs is that they require the keys and certificates that are being used by web servers. And this is really where what Venafi Trust Force comes into play. So Venafi Trust Force provides automatic secure access to all the keys and certificates and maximize that decryption of inbound traffic and basically eliminates the blind spots. So this is a good high-level diagram of how A10 and Venafi work together to maximize decryption and uncovered threats. So first, Venafi finds all the keys and certificates and then securely delivers them to the Thunder ADC appliance for SSL decryption. And then if you have a bad guy out there that wants to inject malicious code over SSL traffic, what happens is that A10 will basically decrypt that SSL session and either inspect and decrypt that SSL session and forwards it on to downstream security systems like the next-gen firewalls out there or the IDS, IPS systems. And then that decrypted traffic basically gets blocked by these downstream security systems. But without Venafi, most of that traffic can't be decrypted because the keys aren't available. So Venafi really provides 100% decryption and inspection of all the inbound SSL TLS traffic and basically maximizes the visibility into these hidden threats. All right, so just a quick overview of Venafi. As I mentioned, Venafi secures trust by protecting keys and certificates so they can't be misused by the bad guys. So on top of our Venafi platform, we've got 3 products: Trust Authority, Trust Force, and TrustNet, and they share layered services that enable visibility, policy enforcement, and automated workflows and provisioning. And with that, we partner with several security folks in the industry, and of course, A10 is a huge partner of Venafi, and we definitely deliver the ability to maximize SSL TLS decryption. With this partnership, we're able to maximize the amount of encrypted traffic that gets decrypted and inspected, and we provide automatic secure distribution of all keys and certificates, and effectively strengthens your existing security defenses.